The R-2508 complex is a joint shared-use airspace comprised of military operations areas, air traffic control assigned airspace, and restricted areas. The Federal Aviation Administration delegated Restricted Area 2515 to the United States Air Force 412th Test Wing Commander for the purposes of research and development testing and evaluation. The Department of Defense has also designated R-2515 as a Major Range Facilities Test Base to support the DoD acquisition system. Flying operations within the R-2515 will be in accordance with the Edwards Air Force Base Instruction 13-100 and R-2515 User's Handbook. Before flying within the R-2508 complex or 2515, pilots must receive an airspace briefing and annual refresher briefing thereafter. It is the responsibility of local units and individual users to ensure they have received the initial and annual airspace briefings. R-2515 briefings can be obtained from the indicated website. Users may also receive the briefing from the R-2515 Airspace Manager, DSN 527-2515, or Commercial 661-277-2515. This R-2515 airspace briefing will cover the following areas: scheduling procedures, participating and non-participating aircraft, Sport and Joshua approach, sport pre-brief, airspace highlights, R-2515 airspace website, airspace management office contact details, and completion of briefing notification requirements. R-2515 is a major range and test facility base and is not for recreational use. The MRTFB is the designated core set of DoD test and evaluation infrastructure and associated workforce that must be preserved as a national asset to provide test and evaluation capabilities to support the DoD acquisition system. As a national asset, the MRTFB may be used by other DoD users and by users outside the department, such as U.S. government agencies, state and local governments, allied foreign governments, and commercial entities. The use of the MRTFB by non-DoD users shall not increase the institutional cost to the Department of Defense to operate the MRTFB. Scheduling of the MRTFB is based upon a priority system that gives equitable consideration to all DoD components and accommodates DoD acquisition program priorities. Due to the hazardous nature of flight test operations, users must have permission from the using agency, 412th Test Wing Commander, prior to entering. Airborne requests will be denied. Military users and civilian letter of agreement holders shall schedule R-2515 in accordance with Edwards Air Force Base scheduling policies. Scheduling should be completed not later than the Wednesday prior to the week of execution. Scheduling requests made beyond this time frame have a greater possibility of being denied. Scheduling shall be accomplished through the 412th OSS current ops scheduling offices at the following numbers: Operations Scheduling 661-277-4110, Real-Time Scheduling 661-277-3940. Civil users without an LOA may request one-time access via the R-2515 Airspace Management Office Hold Harmless Agreement. Hold Harmless Agreement template can be found on the R-2515 Airspace website. Email a completed signed Hold Harmless Agreement back to the R-2515 Airspace office. Due to the time requirement to process these requests, they must be submitted at least 2 weeks prior to the requested date of operation. Requests made within the 2-week time frame have a greater possibility of being denied. All approved users will be given a 4-digit operations number. You will be asked for this number to gain access to R-2515. Participating aircraft operate in R-2515 under the concept of VFR see and avoid. Air traffic control separation services are not provided within R-2515 activated hot altitudes. Visual lookout and mid-air collision avoidance is primarily the aircrew's responsibility. Participating aircraft's IFR clearances are automatically canceled at the R-2508, R-2515 boundary respectively. IFR departure clearances will begin at the boundary exiting R-2508 or R-2515. Non-participating aircraft arriving or departing Edwards Air Force Base shall file a DD Form 175 IFR flight plan. All flight plans filed at Edwards Air Force Base must include participant or non-participant as the first item in the remarks section of the flight plan. Non-participating aircraft will receive standard ATC separation services. However, this requires a portion of R-2515, known as the Palmdale Corridor, to be released to the FAA. This has a significant negative impact on other users of R-2515. Non-participating aircraft may encounter significant arrival or departure delays to allow for the safe and orderly transfer of airspace to Joshua Control Facility. If at any time you are unable to maintain VMC conditions, advise Sport or Joshua Approach Control as appropriate. Crews returning to Edwards that encounter IMC conditions shall remain in VMC and request a transfer to Joshua for an IFR clearance. If unable to locate VMC, the crew should advise Joshua and return to base for an instrument approach. Upon reaching VMC, the crew should cancel IFR and either proceed visually or continue the approach in VMC to landing. If unable to locate VMC, crews should advise Joshua and either exit the area or return to base. R-2515 is NOTAM active surface to unlimited. However, during times of inactivity, most of the airspace will be released back to the FAA for joint use. R-2515 is always active surface to 6,000 feet. Below 6,000 feet is not released back to the FAA. In accordance with Edwards Air Force Base 13-100, Sport MRU provides command and control services within R-2515 activated altitudes during their operational hours to include airspace and mission deconfliction. The MRU controllers are not air traffic controllers and cannot provide standard air traffic control separation services. They provide C2 services such as radar monitoring, traffic advisories, airspace boundary calls, and issue instructions for airspace deconfliction. Prior to entering R-2515, contact Sport MRU on 132.75 or 343.7. The terms vector, deconflict, altitude, headings, etc. does not indicate the application of air traffic control procedures in accordance with FAA regulations. Those terms, in accordance with the C2 charter, indicate the prescribed procedures Sport is authorized to employ to assist participating aircraft from encroaching upon special use airspace, aircraft on converging courses, participating aircraft on test missions, airspace deconfliction plans, and any other actions deemed necessary by the test wing commander to accomplish the mission. Aircrews shall comply with all C2 instructions issued by Sport. If unable to comply with Sport C2 instructions, aircrews will immediately advise Sport of their intentions. When R-2515 is not scheduled for DoD use, it is released to the FAA for joint use. Joshua Control Facility provides limited services such as traffic information and airspace boundary calls. Unlike Sport, they do not provide deconfliction services within R-2515. When the airspace is released for joint use, Joshua will provide standard ATC services. The authority of Sport or Joshua to approve or disapprove requests for entry is final. All directions to evacuate the area or comply with any of the requirements or restrictions thereby imposed are mandatory. .412 test wing aircrews will use the R-2515 Sport pre-brief sheet to provide detailed profile information to Sport. This sheet is available on the Center Operations Online Cool homepage and the R-2515 Airspace website. Printed copies will be kept available at the Unit Operations Desk. Complete this sheet with any data relevant to your mission and fax it to Sport at 661-277-8863 as early as possible. The Sport Watch Supervisor will create a deconfliction plan prior to the first takeoff and is required during the rest of the day. It is imperative that users put accurate contact details on this form so that Sport can contact you with questions or instructions. Overflights shall be conducted so that persons on the ground experience a minimum of annoyance. It is not enough for the pilot to be satisfied that no person is actually endangered. Definite and particular efforts shall be taken to fly in such a manner that the individuals do not believe they or their property are endangered. All communities within the R2508 complex are considered noise-sensitive areas. Noise-sensitive areas shall be avoided by 3,000 feet AGL. The areas depicted on this slide are no-fly areas. The Air Force Research Lab or Rocket Lab shall not be overflown below 5,300 feet AGL. The ODA area shall not be overflown below 6,000 AGL. Base housing should not be overflown regardless of altitude. These are typical routes used by civil users to access or transition R2515. Expect patrol aircraft, helicopters, pipeline or power line inspection aircraft below 1,000 feet AGL along Highway 58 and Highway 395. Depicted on this slide are the UAS work areas. Sop Road, UAS work area, Four Corners work area, Forbes UAS area, Rosamond North and South UAS area, the UAS corridor, and the North UAS extension area. SkyVector is available on the R2515 website and will provide information about UAS activity within R2515. Cords Road is a true east-west oriented graded road running across R2515 from just north of Mojave Airport to Coyote Lake. Within R2515, expect extensive flight activity at all altitudes on Cords Road, along a track from Mojave to the Barstow-Moa 5 to 10 miles north of Highway 58. R2515 has supersonic work areas as depicted on this slide. Avoid supersonic areas at hot altitudes as reported by Sport or Joshua if not conducting supersonic operations. The Precision Impact Range Area, PIRA, is an elongated area across the southern portion of the reservation approximately 20 nautical miles in length and 4 nautical miles wide, extending from 500 feet AGL to unlimited. Supersonic flight below 15,000 MSL is restricted west to east only. Schedule VR 1206 for subsonic acceleration low altitude west to east flights. Aircraft shall be subsonic prior to exiting the east range and crossing Highway 395. Downfall Tower is the control point for all ground activities within the PIRA. Sport, Downfall, Cowbell, or DAGRAG will monitor the assigned mission frequencies as required for mission support during PIRA operations. Downfall maintains a log of surface vehicles and personnel entering or exiting the PIRA, ensures surface vehicles or personnel are cleared onto the range, and ensures surface vehicles and personnel are equipped with a two-way radio for communications with Downfall. Downfall will provide escorts as necessary. R2515 has several spin areas as depicted on this slide. All users shall avoid these areas when they are active. There are several drop zones that users must avoid when they are active. Edwards Tower, Sport, and the DZ controller coordinate each drop. Sport activates the DZ and in turn notifies the control tower and affected aircraft of the DZ status. Depicted on this slide are the West Range and East Range along with the Alpha Corridor. Users must avoid these areas when they are active. The R2515 Airspace website is available online at this address. The website provides links to this 2515 Airspace brief, Edwards Air Force Base 13-100, PPR request procedures, the sport pre-brief sheet, R2508's website, DoD NOTAM's page, the FAA publications page, and many more references. Please contact the R2515 office by email, phone, or postal mail. Office hours are Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., excluding weekends and holidays. This concludes the R2515 Airspace briefing. Please email the R2515 org box indicating you have completed this mandatory briefing. Your notification will remain on file for 1 year.